Our moon, brilliant, tranquil, and throughout time, it has been a complete mystery to us. For centuries, stories have been told and sonnets have been written about the moon. In fact, our lives revolve around the moon. With every seasonal change, the moon is ever present. The moon lights our way in the darkest night and gently guides the weather across our world. Without the moon, the earth would be silent. We are told the moon has been here since well before the dawn of man. Our moon is either a part of the earth or was a vagabond captured by our world eons ago. But is this true? Much controversy exists around the origin and makeup of the moon today, and one of the largest arguments surrounding the satellite is the solidity of its center and the process by which we got our moon in the first place. There are many common theories for the existence of the moon, and all have been proven wrong. The most common is the giant impact theory, the idea that another stellar body collided with the Earth and created the moon. However, the isotopic signature of the Earth and Moon are identical. This negates the idea that another planetary body from somewhere else crashed into the Earth and formed the Moon. Accretion is another hypothesis that states that the Earth and the Moon formed together as a double system from the primordial accretion disk of the solar system. The problem with this hypothesis is that it does not explain the angular momentum of the Earth-Moon system, or why the Moon has a relatively small or no iron core compared to the Earth's, and why the Moon does not revolve. The notion that the moon was captured by the Earth is another popular theory. Isaac Asimov has stated, "It's too big to have been captured by the Earth. The chances of such a capture having been effected and the moon then having taken up a nearly perfect circular orbit around our Earth are too small to make such an eventuality credible. Then there is the fission hypothesis. This theory states that during a time when the Earth was forming and was still molten, the spinning of the planet projected out material which became our moon today. The Pacific Ocean was supposedly the area where the moon came from. However, this was debunked, considering the immaturity of the ocean floor crust and knowing that the moon formed at a time much further in the past. Then there is the problem with the moon itself. There are a number of strange facts about the moon which conjure up many questions about its existence, the first of which is the moon's age. The moon is far older than previously expected, maybe even older than the Earth or the Sun. The oldest age for the Earth is estimated to be 4.6 billion years old. Moon rocks were dated at 5.3 billion years old, and the dust upon which they were resting was at least another billion years older. Some argue that the moon may seem older only because its surface never renews itself, whereas the Earth may have rocks that old, but have since been recycled through the natural resurfacing of the planet. There simply is no way to know this for sure. The chemical composition of the dust upon which the moon rocks sat differ remarkably from the rocks themselves. The rocks had to have come from somewhere else. One could surmise that younger and older meteors and asteroids crashing on the surface of the moon would account for the age differences. However, if this were the case, then we should have a multitude of different ages in all the rocks studied. This is not the case. Normal planetary composition results in heavier elements in the core and lighter materials at the surface. Not so on the moon. Don Wilson writes in his book, Our Mysterious Spaceship Moon. The abundance of refractory elements like titanium in the surface areas is so pronounced that several geologists proposed the refractory compounds were brought to the moon's surface in great quantity in some unknown way. They don't know how, but that it was done cannot be questioned. Mysterious water vapor has been detected on the moon as well. On March 7, 1971, lunar instruments placed by the astronauts recorded a vapor cloud of water passing across the surface of the moon. The cloud lasted 14 hours and covered an area of about 100 square miles. Moon rocks were magnetized. This is odd because there is no magnetic field on the moon itself. And then there is the seismic activity. Hundreds of moonquakes are recorded each year that cannot be attributed to meteor strikes. In November 1958, Soviet astronomer Nikolai A. Kozyrev of the Crimean Astrophysical Observatory photographed a gaseous eruption of the moon near the crater Alphonsus. He also detected a reddish glow that lasted for about an hour. In 1963, astronomers at the Lowell Observatory also saw reddish glows on the crest of ridges in the Arcturus region. These observations have proved to be precisely identical and periodical, repeating themselves as the moon moves closer to the Earth. Could these be natural phenomena? According to science, the moon has no geologic activity. All of this brings us to the most unusual truth about the moon. Our moon is not a solid object. It is indeed hollow. The moon's mean density is 3.34 times an equal volume of water, whereas the Earth's is 5.5. What does this mean? It means for these equations to be correct, the moon must be hollow, as it contains less density for its size and mass. In 1962, NASA scientist Dr. Gordon MacDonald stated, "If the astronomical data are reduced, it is found that the data require that the interior of the moon is more like a hollow than a homogeneous sphere." Nobel chemist Dr. Harold Urey suggested the moon's reduced density is because of large areas inside the moon where there is simply a cavity. Another way of saying it is hollow. And MIT's Dr. Sean C. Solomon wrote, "The lunar orbiter experiments vastly improved our knowledge of the moon's gravitational field, indicating the frightening possibility that the moon might be hollow." None other than Carl Sagan in his treatise Intelligent Life in the Universe stated, "A natural satellite cannot be a hollow object. Therefore, the moon may not be a natural satellite at all." But do we know for a fact the moon is indeed hollow? Yes, we do. On November 20th, 1969, the Apollo 12 crew jettisoned the lunar module ascent stage, causing it to crash into the moon. The lunar module's impact, about 40 miles from the Apollo 12 landing site, created an artificial moonquake with startling characteristics. The moon reverberated like a bell for more than an hour. This test was repeated with Apollo 13, intentionally commanding their third stage rocket to impact the moon, with even more startling results. Seismic instruments recorded that the reverberations lasted for 3 hours and 20 minutes and traveled to a depth of 25 miles within the moon, leading to the conclusion that the moon has an unusually light or no core at all. To put this into perspective, when the Earth experiences a large earthquake, the reverberations from the quake usually only last minutes due to the density of the planet. The moon gongs like a hollow object for several hours.